Hey you guys, Deb Horn here with Steven Johnson, and we're here in Waco, and we've had a great time with our crew just going around looking at some of the projects that he's got going on. How many projects do you have happening right now currently?
In 10 to 12 various stages. Yeah. I think we've probably looked at 4 here, and we've got 5 in Bell and a couple in other counties. And
yeah, and we're in a house.
Luckily, they're all in different stages, so it's
yeah,
not
they
too
are.
Crazy.
We'll be showing you different views of some of the houses that we looked at today. Some of them are older frame home style, and then some of them have the brick veneer and things like that. So we kind of saw from a small frame house to more of a middle
tier,
it's kind of cool.
How it did work
this
out.
house is nice. Yeah. This now where are we right now?
Woodway. So if anybody's ever watched the Fixer Upper show, this is probably one of the areas. We were joking around earlier. I was saying if you're ever trying to figure out which house they're going to pick, if it's one in Woodway and one somewhere else, it's probably the Woodway one.
Yeah.
So it's a real popular area. You got some nice hills and the lake nearby.
Yeah.
And
let's kind of
nice houses
in
too.
This project right here. What were your numbers on this one?
This one the purchase we purchased for $125.
I see.
And
renovation.
I want to say we're going to be just under 39, but I'm willing to bet it's right at 40 when it's all
right at 40.
Right at 40.
So
the original budget was going to be 32.
And you've listed it for what?
$269.
Oh, there you go. There's still plenty of room left in that.
We should be. I think we'll be okay because I think we have some people that would like to buy it at $250, which is a kind of a popular price point.
That's really good, and this is a very nice area. Just super cool. I've never seen it. Never been in this part of Waco before.
I know it sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it really did. As we were driving in, we were like, "Wow, just really, really nice." So, as you look for these projects, one thing that we've noticed is you do use a lot of the same materials. So, as you go into a property, you kind of know in advance what tile, what flooring, and those kinds of things you're using. Do you kind of stick to a common set of things?
As much as possible. If they've got the old sort of flat cabinet that has the plywood look, 9 out of 10 times we would probably pull those out. I want to say these are called craft made.
Those are nice.
Yeah, they were here. So we
really?
So we kept them. And if that happens, then, so a lot of times the differences in the house, they'll come from the cabinets. And then, because a lot of the flooring and the paint will be the same. Someone was teasing me the other day because I use that pendant quite often.
Yeah.
So, but then you saw over at the 59th Street house, the delivery guy's like, yeah, this was broken when I got off.
Oh,
because I'm trying to. I was trying to switch pendants, so I'm gonna keep using what works. And I'll put the same floor. Usually that same tile. I think you've probably seen that quite a few places. And the reason I do that is just because I like the prices. I like the looks. They go good with a couple different color cabinets, and we'll mix up areas we can.
Just from a style standpoint, is gray more in now than beige?
I would say the gray's probably like what beige was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
I
was thinking.
This is agreeable gray from Sherwin-Williams. I think it's pretty agreeable.
Nice. It's agreeable.
It's like you look at it and it's like, kind of fits. So it's a good neutral gray.
So one of the things that we were talking about earlier is if you don't stick to a certain discipline in a rehab, you can lose all the profit in a deal. And do you ever find that as you get into one of these things that you discover something, a big surprise that you didn't know about when you acquired the house, say black mold or a foundation issue or something Or do you most of the time pretty much get a good sense of where you're at before you get in?
You know, one of the cool things about We Buy Houses is that you can get people to knowingly and want to sell their house at a discount for whatever the reason. Mm-hmm. And actually, the 59th one that we went by, they had a tenant. They didn't want to know they were selling it yet because they weren't sure we were going to work it out. Totally makes sense. So they told them they were going to bring an insurance guy by, and then he forgot to leave it on. Anyways, they thought that he also kept a gun. This is like a nice guy with family, but they just. I thought that Cliff said he had a gun. Should maybe we go in? And neither one of them wanted to go in. So I'm like, okay, but he knows we were coming. It's unlocked and everything. So I'm like, okay, screw it. And I ran in, did my photos real quick. And I went around and I saw that new AC unit back there. I'm like, boom, photo. I'm out of there. And then so I was like, okay, I got a pretty good deal. And a week or two later, I asked a friend to go by and see if she might have an investor buyer that wanted to buy it without me fixing it up, just for small profit. And she literally texted me back a photo. She brought in buyers from 45 minutes away and everything, and she texted me back a photo of her hand in a crack in the wall. Oh yeah, that's how bad the foundation was. Like, you put her hand in the crack. So that happened.
We're here in Texas, and that's sometimes how I measure it. People say, "How bad was it?" Well, I couldn't stick my hand in that one, or that one I could stick my hand in, but I've seen some pretty bad.
But yeah, generally you can see the roof. If the roof, I'll just go my simple. It's real simple. When I look at the roof from the front and back, especially the front, but it doesn't look bad, roll with it, and then negotiate after under contract with somebody that loves your house. Because even if you do have to give up the roof, now you're giving up something, and maybe it saves you money over here. So as long as it doesn't look bad, roll with that. Same, roll with AC if it's functional. I got a great guy. If we need to switch the compressor, do it. But if you want to replace those things, you can kind of add them up in your head, and based on the age of the house, you can kind of factor it that way. But when you take the big tickets out, I'll just say, $10 a foot should do it.
That's what I've heard. A lot of guys have kind of a $10 a foot for the cosmetic side of it, right? And then beyond that, your foundation, HVAC, roof.
Yeah, and you can get into where it's like, you do about a 1,500 square foot house. You should be in that somewhere between 13 to 20,000, depending on, maybe you do a cool IKEA laminate counter, like the McGregor one I told you that we found these real cool laminates with the herringbone design. It's real dark, and it'll go nice on those white cabinets. So you just kind of
that I really like that quartz countertop. Last house, it was very nice. So as you go in,
the IKEA, by the way, I mean, they really have, these laminates have come a long way. And if you have somebody that does it well,
in the old days, laminate needs to be replaced.
You can do some cool laminate counters. Yeah.
There's some amazing laminate flooring now that looks like all different kinds of materials and things. So as you get so many deals going at once, I think one of the constraints a lot of investors have, if they get more than one or two rehabs going, is they'll be cash constrained and kind of have to slow down, get these 2 or 3 projects finished, sold, get their cash back. What does it take to get 10, 12, 15 projects running concurrently? How do you handle that from a financing standpoint?
Generally, I've had a lot. I'll be honest. I've had some luck with some quick sales. Waco is this lower price range, and if you have so we've had a little bit of luck there. And then I do get, and this doesn't sound like much for some of you in the bigger cities, I'm sure, that are doing real volume, like a Dallas or Houston, but we have $1 million in private funds with 0 points. and it's 12% interest, and then the repair money goes right to the business account. So, and all of this is our 5th one that's gone on the market, and the other 4 sold. So we just there's just money somehow pumping through, and then we got 15 grand in assignments coming in.
I mean, you basically almost have like a line of credit for up to $1 million through a financing partner that allows you to.
Yeah. So what I did is, to start this business, I took a equity partner on for 25%. Mm-hmm. I own the 75%, and make a deal. I'm the guy. Mm-hmm. But she funds all my commercials and advertising, and raises private money. Hmm. And she's a great partner because she knows way more than I do about how to do all the some of the cool stuff you see here. I mean, all of this, she picked it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I can pick some things and say, hey, what do you think of these options? And she'll be like something oh, that's hideous, and I'll be like, yeah, I thought so too. Scratch off the list. So I've been fortunate because what's cool is her and her partner are so well respected and known in Austin that people there, you've got 5 years of talented, iron sharpens iron, and people make money, and so now you got more people there at the top with money and expertise than ever chasing yield. Mm-hmm. And so actually we'll have flippers. They'll sell one and take $250 and send it our way, and just spread it out over the little deals you guys are doing. Yeah, excellent. So yeah, she's basically, and it pays for itself almost because I don't have to pay the 3 points and the fees and things.
For sure, that's good.
But I have the best hard money lender the First Funding Group out of Dallas. Mm-hmm. They do desktop appraisals, and he may fund, I don't know, I know he does all over Texas, but that helps me out a lot too, because he does not require the appraisals if for some reason I can't get into the house or something. It's a bank owned. Yeah. So yeah.
So what do you think?
Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
you basically have to have a couple $100,000 at all times, just pumping around. Right. We've got, I've lost count. Total 18, and we sold 4, so I guess we have 14 right now.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit of capital.
You got the interest payments. You got your contract. Tomorrow I'll write tons of checks all day. Contractors will be stopping by.
You got to keep the contractors.
Oh, like clockwork.
The work will stop
at 3 o'clock. You see, I'm just writing checks.
Yeah.
So once I get an assistant, I'll be really happy.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that people might make in the renovation project?
I know, but right off the top is the hidden expense. Foregoing something that changes the look you were going for. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll say, well, we can't afford to do granite counter anymore, but that's what is needed for that house or something. So you got to do it. Mm-hmm. You got to still achieve the look, even though the hidden expense popped up. And a lot of times the hidden expense will be just a contractor, and maybe you just meet more contractors and getting a better price. I had guys doing this driveway out here, this rebar, everything. I paid $3,300, and I worked him on the 35 he wanted forever, and I didn't get another quote that was under $8,000. And he did it legit, But I'm like, you know what? I know that it can be done for in the 4 range, and so then even at 35, and I think just sometimes we'll say, oh gosh, I didn't know it was going to be $8,000. 3 people in a row said $8,000, pay that, and then we'll skimp on the finish. And it feels smart, but it doesn't work as people will pay for the finish. Mm-hmm. So as long as it's safe and functional, I'm going to go finish first, and then we'll negotiate a roof or something later.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you guys, in this market, do you have to battle with any particular problem? Is black mold a common thing that you find in homes?
Not really. No. Been real lucky, I think.
Do you have do you do much foundation work in these homes down here in Central Texas?
You know what you do. I've been, again, real lucky with this string, but we've done the one that we were visiting.
Yeah.
I guess technically I was unlucky on that one, but we had that one and then the parrot one. Mm-hmm. And again, we use a really great company. They're in Dallas too, and they came back to parrot 3 times. Advanced Foundation. They did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. I think I've heard of them. Yeah. That sounds good.
It's hard to get people to come back out. So, I mean, they had to mess with it through. And that's what you got to have some, whatever you have, that's, I think, a mistake I've made. I don't know about other investors, but my biggest one will be when I am desperate to get a house going, I'll get somebody on it without properly vetting them
or looking for competitive bids. Or
I'm like, you can actually pay. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Go. They don't have a truck and they pull up in a car that's got the spare. I'm not kidding you. It's I got the tiny spare on it still, and I'm like, okay, but you know how to do pop and lock flooring, right? Okay, all right, cool.
What kind
desperate times?
Don't come back.
You got all these houses, and you're just like, man, I got to do something, But you don't want to stop buying them if you can because I don't know.
It's nice to have crews that that, so you don't have to do a lot of shopping, and you can just get them to the next house and get them on the job. And you're confident that what you're paying for the flooring or whatever is consistent across jobs.
Knowing that crews are working and that they're a crew that you're happy with is definitely the best feeling.
A lot of times I'd show up at a rehab and it's just like, God, I thought you guys were going to be way farther along, or
I thought y'all would be here.
Yeah, I thought you'd be there. That's the only. Where are you guys? I'm over here at Adam Street.
I thought y'all would have started.
Yeah. I was expecting a floor. I remember walking in, when we walked in one time, and we were like, wow, this tile is really nice. And so it hit me. This is not supposed to be tile. This is supposed to be wood. It's like, oh my God. They swapped.
Oh, wow.
Anyway,
I was about to go. We've all got stories.
You have to almost stay on top. I noticed just today as we went from house to house that you're just walking in, just checking. Are you guys have what you need? Do you know what you're doing? Do you understand the plan? Are there any questions?
I painted my way through school, and the one thing I learned real fast when my best painter quit. I showed up late, and he said he was just sitting there on the stoop waiting for me. He said, I was like, I figured I'd wait a little bit longer and see if I catch it. And I was like, oh, cool, sorry to keep you waiting. He's like, but I don't wait for people. He just walked off and left. He'd been working with me for 3 weeks and showed up every day. He was a pro, and he's like, I'm pro. I'm not sitting here for 15 minutes. You either need to have your paint materials here, or that's what needs. I need when I show up to work, it's time to work. So if you're not,
that's
and I never forgot that. Like, no, wait,
please, I'll do better.
He probably had some other opportunity or whatever, but that stuck with me that he didn't have any work to do and he was sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
So I'll always try and make sure that there's something going on because they'll use it too as an excuse. One thing a new contractor often does is ask you for whatever's not there, even though they have an enormous amount of things to do, but they're trying to keep your mind focused on, you're not doing something, you're not doing that. They're trying to keep you off of them. Yeah. So, and I always I'm like, no, I don't.
Let's question about materials and contractors. So, do you basically handle getting the materials and getting them to the site so that when the contractors come there, those two things need to be there at the same time? Is that part of what you're coordinating? Is you're acquiring the materials and then they're showing up to do the work?
Yeah.
So what are your challenges in that and materials? And do you have deals with Home Depot and Lowe's? Or
Definitely.
How are you doing the material side?
One of the things that is a challenge on my end is the sometimes it'll show in stock and it's not, things like that happen, and you send in your order of all these items and it's like, well, we're missing these 3, and it's like, oh my gosh, because now you're gonna have to keep track of that, and so that's the biggest challenge. But your other choice is subbing it out to somebody else. Like I've never really understood the contractor approach where they buy the materials.
Yeah.
Because then, does that mean they choose the finishes, or I have to do double work and choose the finishes, then relay them to them, then make sure that they did get the finishes, or can I just order them myself once? Like that's all, you know. And so, and then I want the discounts, and if the buyer is the one that gets the discounts. And I will say that my experience has been Home Depot's a more automated approach, where like if people want to send painters there, they can usually get like a 10 or 20% depending on how much paint they're buying. I think everybody's familiar with that. And then they've always kind of got like more of a standard 10%. So Home Depot, there's advantages to that side of it. I do a lot of my work with Lowe's, because when you go to your local Lowe's, if you find like whoever's the head of the pro desk, they can do a lot of price work with you if you're doing like a lot of the fixtures and appliances, and you know, I'll get a Frigidaire, either electric or gas, but just 4-burner, and then Frigidaire dishwasher, and then Frigidaire microwave with vent hood for like $809 before taxes from Lowe's.
As a set.
And that's they run like 40% off appliances all the time there, and they have nice fixtures. So, anyways, I recommend anybody that's actually going to be doing any kind of volume of remodel to definitely talk to their pro desk at Lowe's and Home Depot. But Lowe's, that whoever works there is more able to control sort of the pricing based on how much you're buying. If that makes sense.
Right. Do you stock up on any materials that you're going to use frequently on more than one house?
Because if we order the paint from Home Depot in the 25-gallon increments, it'll be shipped directly from Bear, and we'll get a substantial discount that way. And so we will do the agreeable gray at Home Depot matched through Bear. It's a Sherwin-Williams agreeable, and so we'll match it at Home Depot. And then the floor, I kind of do. I'll buy it, but then there's another house, and we use the same kind of flooring so much, it's like gone before but I try to keep extra.
I think your flooring is like a trade secret. I don't
want to give it away.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
I don't think we're
gonna talk about the brand or where you get it or what it costs. But I'll tell you, it's like a fraction of what I've paid for flooring that doesn't look this good. It's really nice.
For
this price point.
Well,
it's really nice anyway.
Yeah,
I'd put it in my house.
Because
right?
you and I talked about that. It's like. It's so one of those things that's so nerve-wracking to me. A backsplash, I think I can do that. But you get me starting to try and pick out, like, in bathroom tile floors, I've started to learn how to do that better.
Yeah.
But, that's tough to try and pick out a wood floor that everybody's going to sort of agree is appealing.
Yeah.
Forget trying to hit a home run like that everybody's going to like. That's impossible.
But it does seem like a darker
it's one that everybody
floor.
sort of finds appealing.
This is a darker, wide plank laminate.
It is. It's a darker one.
A real nice, I believe they call it registration, where it looks like wood because the grain matches the design and
the other cool thing is because it has a darker shade, we can put it up. That's like a blue-gray tile that we use,
Yeah.
And a lot of people like that, and it looks good with something like that, but then obviously it would look good with like a white tile.
Yeah.
So we just keep rolling with it, and then don't have to, like we're talking about, carpet the bedroom. So that's... Because just to kind of clarify, with these home prices in Waco, we see a lot of people, like Colorado people especially. I don't know what their cash is from, but they've got cash they want to put somewhere. And but Colorado, California will buy them. The first flip I did was full price, what I was hoping to get, but they were able to pay $160 and get $1,600 a month. And on a cash-on-cash return, I think that's about 10% after taxes and insurance. So if we're in that 125 or 1 to 150, 175 range, if we can avoid the carpet, we do it for that reason.
Yeah.
We got.
Is there a certain type of house or price range that is your sweet spot out here in Waco?
In Waco, to me, it's under 150. To me, and a lot of these other places, I think you're going to be at 250. You can't find in Austin, but 250 to 4 in Austin's pretty popular. And I think if you are in suburbs of places of you like out where you guys are, 250. But out here for 250 to me is like if you can find these. I don't do it here because Waco's in that price point. But when I worked in Austin for the auction buyer, I would really just research areas that were based on price levels. They were in the Travis County, which is Austin, and Williamson, which is Round Rock. But they were maybe like in Taylor or Hutto.
Right.
And it was like, no, nobody wants to live out there. And I'm like, yeah, but people want to buy houses, and there's no more over here for 150. So then we'd buy the one in Taylor that we knew, and sure enough, that worked. And that's ultimately why I was like, you know what, I bet I could do the same thing with the city and just go to Waco where they're all cheaper. And so far we've been fortunate and it's worked out.
But it does seem like you've done well with, earlier, one of the houses we went to was in McGregor, Texas, which is about 15 miles out of Waco. So the
supposedly some SpaceX thing is there, but I don't know. If anybody ever knows, I don't know. But
we'll show some downtown shots of McGregor. There's not a lot going on down there.
Okay, yeah.
Try
and make it look pretty good. It's a cute little.
It was a cute
spot.
Little
like it really
is. The spot where the house was, you could tell. Because you mentioned it. You can almost get this sense there was a renovation going on over there. There was a new build on a lot over there. There was something happening in that area. And there's a lot of this is about knowing in a community where gentrification or redevelopment is occurring.
Right.
And it seemed like that was a town that was on the cusp of something cool happening out there.
Yeah, and I sent mailers there. And that was actually from an AdWords. I would say, I mean, gosh, I think my leads are balanced to where I would say I have at least one favorite deal from AdWord, from TV commercial, and from mail out. But that was one that, is an area that I don't think anybody would think to target, and I didn't mail it till after, I think. But that's so key is like really, I just really think trying to figure out where the areas are that people aren't necessarily turned off by. I think we focus so much on like, here's the areas everybody wants to be. Well, it's like trying to kind of figure out, well, people would be willing, to live there if they could actually own a home after 10 years of rents having gone up 50%,
Yeah.
So if you stay in that first time buyer, you're still dealing, and I've actually been reading a ton of articles on that too, where they're saying that basically the home price appreciation year over year now is strictly from the bottom. And if you really dig into the numbers, it's not so rosy in that 400 and up.
What do you mean strictly from the bottom?
Well, so you've got homes out here like shooting up about 12 to 15% year over year in Waco. Last report I saw, it's going to go about 10%.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's real like base growth, like all the homes. Whereas like if you look at Austin. You've got a lot of areas where the homes that you were selling for something, they're still at that price or maybe a little softer, and so the price appreciation is down at 4 or 5%, but any of that real appreciation is from the last few remaining houses that are under that 250.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. So, do you think the very popular HGTV show, is that HGTV or Fixer Upper?
Oh yeah, for Fixer Upper.
Has kind of put Waco on the map when it comes to real estate and renovations. They're not flipping; they're more renovators. But
I found out, I didn't realize that they did used to flip.
Oh, did they?
And apparently, obviously, we're good at it. They don't flip on the show, but they did flip before.
We passed their original, their original office. It's very unassuming, Just,
Magnolia Realty.
building. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Do you think that that show has made Waco a more popular place, or more?
Without a doubt. Yeah. I think like if I were somebody who, this is essentially what I did. So, but if you have a job, or you can do a job and you can move, I think we'll see more and more of it, where people look on a map and they say, hey, you know what? I could live there. And in this case, with Waco, we all got to see, and of course they're not the Gaines's houses. Like you see, they bought that for $40,000. The Gaines did $118,000, and now, of course, wow. But you could see like how low prices were, and it's still pretty area, as you've seen. You got nice hills, and I think we'll just see more and more of that. I think people with the prices, it's like rents aren't going down, so I think we'll see more and more people move to these smaller price markets.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it was great seeing some of these projects and getting to spend a little bit of the day seeing what you do as a rehabber. And so, any thoughts or anything that we didn't talk about that you'd want to share with people before we head back to Dallas?
I think I would say one of the cool things I got to learn from having an equity partner that's she's more talented and more experienced, so like design and stuff. I like sales, and then I like figuring things out. I would say, the number one thing I've learned from her is that it's more about simplicity. Like you seen, like we don't do like the Tetris-like looking crazy backsplash.
Right.
And but it's making sure you have, do crazy amounts of contrast, but just subtle, you don't have to try so hard. Mm-hmm. Like just kind of be on trend and know that grays and things are popular, blacks are popular, and just be on trend, and but don't try too hard to like find fancy patterns in your stuff.
I think a lot of those HGTV shows created an impression that every house was some palette for an artwork, Right. And really, what I've seen with a lot of you guys is you kind of have standard materials, standard processes, and that's what allows you to know what your costs are going to be in advance, and to exit the deal with a good profit. You know your numbers, because you're not going into each house thinking, let's see, what will we do on this one? That's all artsy and cool. It's really not about that.
We're in a pretty cool phase when, if you do a starter home, if you have cabinets that aren't, again, like that real flat face plywood look cabinet, do you know what I'm talking about? Then you just know it's like, but as long as they're any kind of cabinets, we're in a cool stage for a renovator, because you could do those 22-cent 3x6 subway tiles that they sell at both big box stores. That backsplash is totally timeless and on trend. Just a subway tile backsplash. Yeah. You could throw a butcher block counter down and paint the cabinets black. You'd be on trend, timeless, cheap. And that's right now what's going on. So that's a good time, I think, to be flipping the starter homes.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for your time today.
Man, thanks for coming out. You have to come out more often.
Waco's way cooler than I thought it was. Way cooler.
Yeah, it is. Come visit. Come move here.
All right, we'll talk to you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
See you.
Thanks, Seth.